Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. Phillies fans like to hit the panic button at the first chance they get. It's just the first chance they're getting, Mike McGarry. Another loss last night. This one, though, a shutout loss. So we've seen some concerning things about this offense right now.
Yeah, I don't think this is the first opportunity they got to panic, did it? I think the Phillies started 2-4 this year, so maybe that was an opportunity here. But, yeah, they have dropped 3 in a row, but I am not concerned at all. I don't think anybody rooting for the Phillies should be concerned. And I point out that the Los Angeles Dodgers, who yesterday swept the doubleheader from the Mets, were roughed up by the Cincinnati Reds over the weekend. So this is baseball, 162 games. You know, you're going to lose a couple in a row. It's no reason to panic right now.
Castellanos, 199. He was in the 4-hole last night. He has yet to have a day off all season long. Give me your kind of thoughts on that situation, why he hasn't had a day off. Would you recommend giving him the day off? Last night in the 4-hole. Any thoughts on the whole Castellanos as we hit June almost now and still under 200?
Yeah, I think if you want to be concerned about something, Castellanos is something you can realistically be concerned about, right? You just said the magic words. We're about to hit June. We're past Memorial Day. You look at his average. You look at his performance in last year's playoffs where, you know, what was he, 1 for 24 or something in that NLCS. Why he hasn't gotten a day off, it's probably the construction of the team. I mean, you basically have guys in Marsh and Pache. You know, Marsh, they don't like to play him against lefties. Castellanos is right-handed, so he's not going to sit against a lefty. But I think Castellanos is a guy that is a slight concern and maybe is going to cost the Phillies at the trade deadline to maybe go out and get a right-handed bat that can maybe play a corner outfield position.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, Mike, they don't utilize some in-house options either. It's not like they don't have, like, Marsh could play right field. You could play Merrifield in left. You could play Pache in left and play Marsh in right. Like, I don't know why they don't at least try a couple in-house options before they even have, like, not me anyway. I'm not saying you got to get somebody and make a trade. You got some in-house options that you can at least try to see if you can help get him going.
Yeah, I agree, but I think, you know, their reasoning, if I had to take a guess, would probably be we're paying this guy, you know, $20 million a year. We are off to a tremendous start. If they were 500 or a couple of games over 500, maybe it would be a different matter. But with how well they played, they can kind of absorb his poor season and give him every opportunity to try and figure it out. And I think that's what they're doing now. The question is he going to figure it out? And I think we're getting to a point where we can sort of sit there and say, you know, maybe it's not going to happen for him this year.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I mean, I don't know. I just see a guy, slower bat, not driving the ball. I mean, Mike, and this is coming from a guy, like when they signed Castellanos, I mean, 302, 360 on base, 100 ribbies, 34 home runs. I mean, he had a great season in Cincinnati. You're thinking, wow, they're adding this bat to the lineup. The guy he was then to the next year, he had a very down year his first year. He picked it back up last year, but there's no way he gets anywhere close to even maybe the guy he was in 2022.
No, he's been a disappointment. Again, he had a bad year that first year. Last year, he had a good couple of months, and then he had a good beginning of the playoffs. So in the span of almost like 2.25 or 2.5 years with the Phillies, he's basically had a stretch of maybe about 80 games, out of, more than, close to 400 games where he's performed like the guy they thought they were getting. The thing to keep in mind with Castellanos is he has a connection to Dave Dombrowski back with the Detroit Tigers, so Dombrowski believes in him, and maybe that's a reason why, too, he gets an extra long leash here.
We had a couple text messages that came in. I want to have you kind of answer those questions as I did. Dan in EHT says, what about putting Turner in the outfield so Sosa can play shortstop?
Not going to happen. I mean, Trey Turner is, a shortstop. You're paying him $300 million a year. When he comes back, he's going back to shortstop. And although while I feel Edmundo Sosa has filled in tremendously. Let's not forget, Armando Sosa has shown in his career that he's basically a utility player. If, like I say, if he gets 250 to 300 at-bats a year, which is what he's on pace to do now, you're going to love Armando Sosa. If Armando Sosa gets 500 at-bats a year, trust me, Dan, you're not going to like Armando Sosa as much as you like him right now.
What about the thought of possibly putting Harper back in the outfield?
Again, not going to happen. You don't take a player like Bryce Harper and just move him around, especially with, his history of injury. His back has been a little, precarious the past couple of years. You're not going to have a guy who, from the first day of spring training, has been, designated to play first base. You're not going to all of a sudden type Bryce Harper on the shoulder and tell him, hey, buddy, you're back in right field. No, Bryce Harper is at first base for the foreseeable future.
Boy, you and I agreeing on a lot of things today, Mike McGarry. I agree. Harper not going back to the outfield. The Turner thing, you're not asking him to go play the outfield. Now, he did play center field in Washington when he first came up, but I don't see that happening again. Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. Yesterday, let's change gears here a bit. It was reported by Keith Pompey, who's going to join us in about 20 minutes from now. The Sixers prepared to give Jimmy Butler a max extension if he's in fact traded. I mean, is this like buyer's remorse that they didn't do it the first time? So if they get a second chance, they're going to go try to do it this time around?
Yeah, I think the Sixers are in a precarious situation, basically, in fact, that they got to go get a superstar or a star player, a third player to add to the Maxey Embiid mix, and they're shopping in a market with limited guys available. And, you talk about a Paul George, you talk about a Jimmy Butler, you talk about a Brandon Ingram. I think they have to go get one of those guys. I don't think they can sit there and tell Joel Embiid, hey, buddy, wait another year. We'll go star hunting a year from now. Jimmy Butler's the guy out there. And again, I've said it before, what concerns me is you look at the NBA playoffs, you look at the teams that are left. They are filled with talented young guys who are 25, 26, maybe 27 years old and younger. All the guys 30 and older are home, including Jimmy Butler. So giving a max contract to a guy like Jimmy Butler in his 30s worries me, because you look at the current NBA right now, there's been a shift. It's towards a younger league.
I agree with that to some extent, but you're also you said it, you're in a spot where you have the money now, you have Embiid there. How many more years would you say you're getting high-level Embiid?
I think, again, he'll be 31 this upcoming season. We've all seen big men not really age that well, big men with an injury history like Embiid. I think you've got a window open this season, maybe next season. I don't know about after that. I think it's the next 2 years here that they've got to make a move with Embiid. And you're right, they've got to go get a third player. You can only get who's available. But again, it doesn't seem like an optimum choice. It seems like they're in a bind here, and in a bind that going through the process and stuff was supposed to get them out of. Somehow they've arrived at a bind where you're going to be giving Jimmy Butler $200 million.
Oh, man. That one's interesting. And obviously the Phillies, the Sixers, I mean, they're in a weird spot because they have all the money, they have draft picks, so they have the ability to make moves, and they just don't have a lot of options. I equated it to, hey, here's $1,000, go on a shopping spree, but you can only go to the dollar store.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not even getting that nice, Diet Coke. You're getting some indiscriminate, non-generic Diet Coke that you can't even taste, basically, or taste like gas or something like that. That's the position that the Sixers are in right now. Again, they've got Embiid, they've got Maxey. They need a third guy. They have all the money in the world, and again, they're not going to buy a Mercedes. They're going to get maybe a nice Kia Optima. Maybe that'll be good enough to get them home. Who knows?
Well, as we know, a lot of people are saying you get going away from the 3-star thing and just kind of, hey, the 2 guys and then just a solid group of role players that kind of mesh around them.
That's not going to get it done, and I don't think you can tell Joel Embiid that, hey, we're not going to bring in, a couple of star players. We're going to bring in role players and hope that gets it done in the playoffs. I don't see that as being an answer for the 76ers. That's certainly not Daryl Morey's history. The guy has signed stars wherever, in Houston, in Philadelphia. He's star hunted his whole life. I don't think all of a sudden he's going to become a guy who just signs up a couple of role players and says that's how we're going to play out next season.
Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. A lot of local baseball teams, softball teams still rocking and rolling. Yes, the high school season is getting ready to wrap up, but where are you heading for the playoffs today?
Yeah, right now on the road out to Cedar Creek High School in Egg Harbor Township, Lower Cape May and Cedar Creek in a South Jersey Group 2 quarterfinal. The public school baseball teams, Mainland, Ocean City, Egg Harbor Township, ACIT, all in action today as we're in like the quarterfinal action of the state high school baseball tournament. It's amazing how quickly the spring season goes. We've got about another 10 days left in the season here, and then high school sports wrapped up for 23-24. It's unbelievable how fast the school year goes.
Yes, indeed. So check out all the coverage, pressofac.com. Mike McGarry. Where are you going today? Cedar Creek and Lower?
Lower Cape May, Cedar Creek, South Jersey Group 2 quarterfinal out here in Egg Harbor City.
All right, there you go. Good stuff, Mike. We'll check back on Friday, see if the Phillies can get back to the winning track. By the way, Cardinals in town this weekend, and Sunday Night Baseball. You can listen on 97.3 ESPN. Thanks, Mike.
All right, we'll see you down the road, Mike. Thanks.